The Uprising: How Black Women Entrepreneurs Are Shattering the Rules of Success. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here today. I want to begin by acknowledging the extraordinary woman whose work and wisdom form the foundation of everything I'll share with you tonight. Lauren Woodson isn't just a visionary entrepreneur, she's a revolutionary architect, rebuilding the very framework of how we understand business, leadership, and collective prosperity. Through her groundbreaking research and fearless advocacy, Lauren hasn't merely identified problems in our economic landscape. She has engineered solutions that are lifting entire communities out of systemic invisibility. Her data driven approach, combined with profound emotional intelligence, has created a roadmap for transformation that challenges everything we thought we knew about success. What I'm about to share with you tonight isn't just surprising. It's seismic. For generations, we've been sold a particular story about success: work harder than everyone else, outcompete at all costs, sacrifice your health, your relationships, your joy on the altar of achievement, climb over others to reach the top. This narrative suggests that the path to achievement is linear, predictable, and available to anyone willing to grind themselves into dust. But what if that story isn't just incomplete? What if it's fundamentally broken? What if the most revolutionary form of success isn't about individual achievement at all, but about creating networks of mutual support that transform entire communities? This is the radical truth that emerged from Lauren Woodson's research and is backed by data that doesn't just challenge our conventional wisdom about entrepreneurship, it shatters it completely, particularly when it comes to Black women business owners. Here's the revelation that should stop you in your tracks. While the dominant narrative around Black women in entrepreneurship obsessively focuses on barriers and challenges, the data tells a dramatically different story. Between 2019 and 2023, Black women owned businesses saw average revenues increase by an astonishing 32.7%. This growth rate didn't just outpace their peers, it established an entirely new standard for resilience and innovation in entrepreneurship. Let that sink in for a moment. The very demographic that faces some of the most significant structural barriers in business is driving some of the most impressive growth. This isn't just surviving, it's thriving in ways that defy everything we've been taught to believe about success. We've been conditioned to believe that success comes from individual grit, from pushing through obstacles alone, from outworking and outmaneuvering everyone else. But Lauren's research reveals something far more revolutionary. Black women entrepreneurs are succeeding not despite systemic challenges, but because they've developed alternative approaches to business that transform those very challenges into competitive advantages. This represents a fundamental disruption in how we understand entrepreneurial success. It's not just about individual achievement, it's about creating ecosystems that amplify collective success and generate generational change. Let me share three key insights from Lauren's work that illuminate this paradigm shift. First, Black women aren't just participating in business growth, they're leading it. Their ventures are growing faster than nearly any other demographic group. This isn't happening by accident or in isolation. It's the result of intentional strategies that prioritize community over competition, collaboration over conquest. Second, systemic change is occurring because more Black women entrepreneurs are focusing on creating supportive networks, mentorships, capital access, and community infrastructure, which help others rise alongside them. This approach transforms the traditional competitive model into a collaborative one where success is measured not just by individual profit, but by collective advancement. Third, despite persistent funding disparities, with loan approval rates still significantly lower than those for men, collective action and strategic reinvention have enabled Black women to turn obstacles into opportunities. They're not waiting for the system to change. They're building alternative pathways that bypass the barriers entirely. Let me bring these principles to life with some compelling stories from Lauren's research. Consider what happened in the aftermath of the pandemic, when businesses across all sectors were fighting for survival. Between 2019 and 2023, Black women owned businesses experienced an average revenue jump of 32.7%, the highest among all groups at major women's entrepreneurship conferences. This occurred despite staggering obstacles: systemic underfunding, with approval rates for loan requests remaining far below those for men, higher denial rates, 25% versus 19%, plus pandemic era disruptions that threatened to wipe out decades of progress. How did they achieve this remarkable growth when everything was stacked against them? Meet Tasha, who owned a small catering business in Atlanta that was decimated when events were canceled overnight. Instead of accepting defeat, she pivoted to creating gourmet meal kits delivered directly to families struggling with remote work and homeschooling. She didn't just save her business, she tripled her revenue in 18 months. Or consider Kiana, whose beauty supply store in Chicago faced imminent closure when foot traffic disappeared. Instead of competing with major online retailers, she created a cooperative with five other Black women owned beauty businesses. Together, they built a shared e commerce platform, pooled their inventory, and shared delivery costs. All six businesses not only survived, they expanded into new markets that would have been impossible to reach individually. These entrepreneurs leveraged digital tools to expand their reach beyond traditional markets. They built strong peer mentorship networks through organizations like Binsk and local chambers of commerce. Many pivoted their product lines or services based on emerging needs, showing remarkable adaptability. The results were transformative. Revenue growth significantly outpaced industry averages, and increased visibility attracted more opportunities for investment. The post pandemic era forced rapid adaptation as traditional markets shrank. But these founders used adversity as a catalyst rather than a barrier. This pattern of turning obstacles into opportunities appears consistently across Lauren's research. Consider the venture capital landscape, where the disparities are stark and well documented. Fewer than 10% of entrepreneurs are Black, and only about 2.4% of VC backed startups were run by Black founders between 2019 and 2020. The challenges are significant: lower startup formation rates, 22% less than white founders, higher failure rates among Black founded firms, 20% higher, and limited access to venture capital funding due to lack of representation among investors. Yet, even here, Lauren's research identified a small but growing group that has managed to break through these barriers with notable exits or sustained profitability. Take Renee, who founded a health tech company focused on maternal health solutions for underserved communities. After being rejected by 47 traditional venture capital firms, she built a coalition of Black angel investors, many of whom were making their first investments. This approach not only funded her company, but created a replicable model that has now helped fund 17 other Black women founded startups in the healthcare space. Their approach? Strategic partnerships with diverse angel investors and leveraging social media campaigns to attract alternative sources of capital outside traditional VC channels. The outcomes are promising. Female founded VC backed startups have achieved a higher exit rate, 19.4%, compared with market expectations, even though they remain underrepresented overall. This success didn't happen in a vacuum. Persistent advocacy led some institutional investors to set aside funds specifically targeting minority founders after calls from grassroots leaders following the racial reckoning of 2020. Notable exits by female led tech companies founded by Black entrepreneurs inspired further policy changes across several investment funds nationally. The impact extends beyond individual success stories. These breakthroughs have raised awareness about structural inequities while proving the viability and profitability of investing in overlooked talent. But perhaps the most compelling evidence for this alternative approach to success comes from examining team composition and leadership styles. Lauren's research shows that women led startups consistently outperform male led counterparts on ROI metrics. Teams led by Black female founders tend toward greater diversity across gender and background, resulting in increased creativity and innovation output. This occurs despite significant challenges, breaking cultural norms around leadership roles while competing against entrenched biases regarding team composition within tech and startup spaces. The solution? Intentional hiring practices focused on inclusion, using global digital platforms, e commerce, and social media outreach both internally for recruitment and externally for customer acquisition. The outcomes are remarkable: higher retention rates among employees from diverse backgrounds, and demonstrable improvements in creative problem solving, leading directly to better financial results. What Lauren Woodson's research reveals is nothing short of revolutionary, a fundamentally different approach to business success that challenges our most basic assumptions about competition, achievement, and growth. The traditional model tells us that business is inherently competitive, that for someone to win, someone else must lose. It suggests that success comes from outperforming others, from securing limited resources for yourself rather than sharing them. But the success of Black women entrepreneurs tells a different story. It suggests that the most sustainable form of success comes not from competition, but from collaboration. Not from hoarding resources, but from sharing them. Not from individual achievement, but from collective advancement. This approach isn't just morally appealing, it's demonstrably effective. The numbers don't lie. Growth rates of 32.7% speak for themselves. Higher ROI and exit rates tell their own story. What if this collaborative approach to success isn't just an alternative strategy for marginalized groups? What if it's actually a superior model for everyone? What if the future of business isn't about competing more effectively, but about collaborating more intentionally? What if the path to success isn't about climbing over others, but about lifting as you rise? These questions don't just challenge our fundamental assumptions about what drives success. They demand that we reconsider everything we thought we knew about power, prosperity, and possibility. I want to leave you with this challenge. What would happen if you stopped waiting for permission from gatekeepers or even your own doubts to build something bold? What legacy could you create if you lean fully into your story, your network, and your power right now? The evidence is clear. When we shift from a mindset of scarcity and competition to one of abundance and collaboration, we don't just change our businesses, we transform our world. When we measure success not just by individual achievement, but by collective advancement, we create ripples of opportunity that extend far beyond our own reach. This isn't idealism, it's the most practical path forward in an increasingly complex and interconnected world. The success of Black women entrepreneurs, despite systemic barriers, proves that collaboration isn't just compassionate, it's revolutionary. Building supportive networks isn't just kind, it's strategic. Lifting others as you rise isn't just ethical, it's the most powerful form of leadership we have available to us. So I challenge you, go beyond merely admiring this model, implement it, champion it, fund it, spread it, because the future of success isn't about who can climb highest alone. It's about who can build the strongest networks of mutual support that lift us all. The uprising has already begun. The question is, will you join it? Thank you.